Welcome to the Douglas Planning Board meeting for Tuesday, February 28, 2017. The meeting is being recorded and is available for viewing on the Douglas Public Access Channel and on the Douglas website. We'll come to order at 7:01. First item on the agenda, public hearing continued, JMT Sleepy Hollow LLC and James T. Fitzpatrick. Application for a definitive subdivision plan, Sleepy Hollow, 439 Northeast Main Street and 34 and 36 Davis Street. And at the same time, public hearing continued, JMT Sleepy Hollow, application for an earth removal special permit, same address. Public hearing is now reopened.
Norman Gamache here, representing the applicant. I'm here tonight just to bring the board up to speed as to where we are. We've been having conversations with the Conservation Commission regarding the location of this particular brook. It's considered a river under the Wetlands Protection Act, and we had difficulty gaining access to that property because it's off our property. But that was finally arranged, so we did get access. We met with the Conservation Commission, showed them the information we had, and now they're comfortable with what we have for a location. The location of that brook kind of determines where we can put our detention basin. So we're in the process. We've actually relocated it here. We've just reconfigured it so that it's outside 100 feet away from this brook. These plans show that we actually are maintaining the 100-foot buffer to the abutters in our grading. The grading goes right down to the cul-de-sac. This side of the cul-de-sac is actually right on natural grade. We're not doing anything there, we're just going into the hill with the cul-de-sac. We have finished our grading plans and we're in the process now of going through and revising our drainage. We believe that we'll have the revised plans ready in about a week and a half or 2 weeks, which we hope would be far enough in advance to come back for the second meeting in March, so that we'll be presenting revised plans, and Bill will have had an opportunity to take a look at those and have a review, so we'll have a lot more substance to discuss at that meeting. But it's been a while, but I think we're finally at a point where we're comfortable with the restrictions that we have in the development of the subdivision.
The gray area to the right of the cul-de-sac, is that grading?
Those are good. That's grading.
That's your code for grading?
Right. So, the location of the cul-de-sac is kind of worked backwards from existing ground at 100 feet away from the property lines and then down at a 3-to-1 and 2-to-1 in one area. So, and it goes right to the edge of the road.
Is that the same entrance point?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's the length now? No. Same length?
1,317 feet to the center of the cul-de-sac. So we.
Bill, anything?
When you end up resubmitting the edits, what I would appreciate is if, along with that, you include a letter that goes over the last comments that we had.
Okay. And we will be looking for a continuance to the second meeting in March.
Okay.
And I don't know if you need a request for an extension on the decision period at this point. I'm pretty sure we've gone.
You're willing to give us one tomorrow?
Sure.
Yeah.
I just need to know a date when you're comfortable.
Yeah. So the 28th, we're wide open, so
7 o'clock? Okay, you want to do both public hearings then again, to Norm at the same time? Yeah.
Sure.
March 28th?
Yeah.
Okay, March 28th at 7 o'clock.
Okay. And Bill, you'll let me know if you need an extension on the decision deadline, and I'll send that.
Okay.
Send that over to Bill.
Okay. Anybody on the board, any questions, comments?
No, just I guess a reminder that for any waivers requested, that they be in writing and cite the proper part
Section.
of the rules and regs,
Yep.
have that ready for the board to review and possibly contemplate action. So they're all
We'll submit the waiver letter along with the revised plans, so you'll have them in advance for the meeting.
Nobody further on the board?
Sounds
We're
good.
going to continue this public hearing. It is a public hearing. I'll take a couple of questions if there's any in the audience. If not, we're going to move on. Name and address, please.
Jim Woodward, 19 Monroe Street. A couple of things. So are we talking about, is this all one, is this the earth removal and the subdivision all tied into one piece?
Yes.
It is. Okay, thank you. Norman, has the 100-foot buffer been adhered to in your final plan? The engineer?
Yeah, I think you gotta go through the chair.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I
Yeah,
apologize. I apologize.
Yeah.
Can you point out where Monroe Street is on that map? I didn't bring my glasses.
Monroe Street's up here.
In that gray area? So that's Monroe
This is
Street?
the grade, this is the property line right here,
Okay,
and then this is the beginning of the grading, which is 100 feet away on this scale.
okay, can you tell me from the top of the property on Monroe Street to the road base, can you tell me what that footage is?
To the bottom, to
To the
this
bottom?
road?
Yep, from the top of my backyard to the bottom of your road, to the top of your road. Can you tell me what that is, please?
So they're keeping the full 100 feet.
Looks like it's over 200 feet.
There's not a 200-foot cliff there. You're kidding, that's a Grand Canyon.
Well, you got 100 feet back.
No, I'm talking straight down.
Okay.
Oh, elevation wise?
Elevation-wise, I apologize.
Are you number
19.
19?
Yeah.
Okay. That is 58. It's about 50 feet.
And that's a 2 to 1, 3 to 1 slope?
This is a 3-to-1 over here, yes.
3 to 1 slope, okay,
Yep.
thank you. Can I also ask, what's the final plan for that 3 to 1 slope? Is it gonna be vegetation, is it gonna be riprap, is it
It's
gonna
gonna
be?
be grass.
It's gonna be grass.
It's gonna be planted.
And plans to maintain that grass?
It'll be
Not my
planted.
grass, I mean, is somebody gonna
Naturally growing.
naturally
right?
just let it go?
Excuse me?
Yeah, naturally vegetated, right?
It'll be, yeah,
You're
once
not
it's,
mowing it.
no, we're not gonna be mowing it for a
It's-
while.
Yeah.
We anticipate someday there'll be houses there.
Yeah, on the side of it.
Speaking of houses, can I ask how many you're gonna end up with in that whole subdivision?
Right now, we're showing 24 lots, and that includes the street lots that we have.
Oh, yeah.
24? So and you just said you have future plans to put houses on that grassed area? Is this a phase 1 of a subdivision?
Well, we are creating lots at the end of the cul-de-sac. Excuse me, so we do anticipate building houses there.
On top of the 24?
No,
So 24 houses?
24 house lots include all the lots in the subdivision, and there's like,
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5 lots that have actual street frontage. One on Davis Street.
Okay, I guess I may have misstated my question. I guess my question is, so it's gonna be 24 house lots total?
Yes,
That slope behind my house is gonna be grassed,
it is, yes.
non-maintained? Any fencing above the top of that?
No,
None, no safety issues, no safety concerns?
no. 3-to-1's a pretty gentle slope.
At 50 feet, do you feel that's adequate?
Yeah.
At a 50-foot, that's a gentle, 50-foot fall is gentle?
Right, but you're talking a foot and 3 feet.
I understand what I'm talking about, kid.
Okay.
Okay. All right, just raise this question. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, Dennis Mahowich, Northeast Main Street. Is there gonna be gravel removal on those house lots at a future day?
There could be, yes.
This is the way it's getting, so you're gonna end up with a, no, you're gonna end up with a mess.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion that we continue the public hearing?
Continue to
March 28th.
March 28 at 7 PM,
I mean, fit to me.
2017,
You good with that?
correct?
Yep, how long do you want? Half hour,
Half
hour?
hour.
They're gonna be, presumably this will be
I'm missing that one. I'm
the
sick.
final plans?
Sick on that day.
We hope so.
We hope so.
Certainly hope so.
I give them at least 45
Yeah, I'm
minutes.
gonna say 45 minutes, because we're gonna do waivers and all that, too.
We gotta do waivers, there's two things here, definitive and the earth removal. There are two separate approvals, et cetera.
Can I ask just one more quick question?
No, we're closing the public hearing, we're continuing the public hearing, so.
Okay,
We
okay.
already had a motion made. Who seconded it?
Can I have that?
Second.
Yeah. Motion's made by Tracy, made by Evan, seconded by Tracy.
Oh,
Any
okay.
further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, the motion carries. All right, so if you're in, we'll be back. 28th at 7 PM.
And if they need information, they can come and meet with Bill.
He's giving me that.
I was gonna say, we should probably go outside because they're still having a meeting.
Take a picture of Norm, too.
Kid.
Next,
You continue both of those, right?
our next item is that, yeah, we did both. Yeah.
Not 7.
We continued both public hearings, just so.
Right, but we got
it's on the record.
discussion items.
Next one's at 7:30, so we can't do anything until then. Take some stuff out of order. Bill, anything you'd like to handle particularly?
Well, we could talk about Jim Pine's request for release of bond for
Okay.
Area F.
Yep.
I did go out there today, and I have a couple of photos if you guys want to take a look at that. Personally, I think it needs some more work in terms of vegetation and establishing the vegetation.
Okay.
So if you're considering releasing any of it, I would suggest that you not release all of it.
You see some erosion happening?
No, it's relatively flat up there.
But it's rocky?
I don't see
It's
much green.
rocky, and there's no vegetation, very little
Yeah,
vegetation.
so like, Bosma's, when we went up there and it was like rock.
Yeah, you'll
Not
see the photos,
vegetated.
yeah.
Can we give
How
it
much
another
is the
month?
bond right now?
I think, Ernie, you have the paperwork in
Yes.
your folder.
Where is it? Where's
In the
the
to-be-signed property.
Where's the what?
grass?
Oh, that's the new type of grass?
It's invisible.
It's called
A
invisible.
few months ago, he said.
It's like my yard.
Yeah.
At night, a guy's gonna come out and paint this green.
Yeah, even given the month.
It is great, it's beautiful.
What's the
It is.
terms? Yeah, it has
Seen
to
them out
have.
on here.
4 inches of loom and vegetation.
Okay. Do you think there's 4 inches of loom?
Where there are no rocks, yes.
Okay.
Okay,
How many places is
there's
that?
no amount on there.
On the back?
There's a number,
Yeah,
but.
right?
Yeah, no, not this.
No, not that.
There should be another top.
That's the only one to be signed, yeah.
Can't even stick a shovel into it.
Another black mark for Maria.
Off the top of my head, it's probably around, I'm guessing, 8 to 14,000. Half of it was released. It was 10 acres. We released half of it
Okay.
previously.
Yep.
And so, I mean,
When's our next?
I did speak with Jim today, and I kind of let him know. I said, no, I don't think this is adequate, but
Okay.
Yeah,
Does
right.
that matter?
That's why he wants to close it up.
Why does it matter?
Would you be comfortable with, what, a third releasing?
Because if
or
we
like
don't, I
half,
suppose he
or-
has to ask
it's
for
up to the board. I mean, you could wait also think so.
So that's also the other issue, that it's expiring, the permit's expiring. Does he have
It
to get a continuance request or something to
We
not
would,
lose the money?
we would have to grant an extension to the permit, or I would say, it's odd that it's ending at this time of year.
Is that the one that got messed up that one year, where
No,
one got overlooked?
no.
No, that's not,
That was another part? That was
yeah,
further.
this one's more up in the back, yeah.
So we'd have to get a request from him to extend the permit and then say give that another month.
Well,
I would say a few months.
I'd say if your main concern is vegetative growth,
Vegetation.
you have to seed it,
Right.
if they haven't already and it just hasn't grown.
That's not gonna happen.
Usually
When
that's
do they
April.
do it?
April is usually when you do this kind of thing,
Right.
or the fall,
So,
October.
So I would ask them to extend it to June or July or something if you wanna make sure the stuff's growing.
Okay.
I do like June.
But we can also, 8 to 14, you think, if, for just, it looks pretty,
It's all
obviously
gradient.
level and the grading
Yeah.
looks fine.
I mean, I'm comfortable releasing them.
Just hang on to what,
2/3.
3 to 5,000 for seeding?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I said 3 to 5. You wanna
Release two-thirds
give
of
them-
the remaining bond amount.
What's
release the bond amount provided that we retain 3,000.
Okay.
And
I mean,
then request the extension for the permit.
Right, I think he has to put that in writing.
We'll get that in writing from him.
So I'll second the motion.
And if it comes in writing, can we approve it now? Because our next meeting is after March 11. Technically, it would have expired, or not a big deal?
I think that you can approve an extension now pending his request for an extension.
Oh, now we're gonna get.
It's not gonna be an issue.
Yeah,
No.
I think there's a little, I mean, it's 3 days for grace period.
Yeah.
So the motion is to retain
Yeah, Mr. Cha-
3,000.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we release the bond funds relative to earth removal permit ER 140129, so-called parcel F, provided that no less than $3,000 remain in the account, and provided further that the board approves an extension of the earth removal permit pending a written request from the applicant.
Second.
Sounds good.
No date specific, just an extension?
Yeah, he's
I'll
gonna
talk to
tell
him
us.
about that. I'll let him tell me how long.
Okay.
The, in the file folder also is refund of the 53G
Yeah.
account,
That's the
so,
one.
you know, that goes hand in hand with this. We can return it now, or I can hold off on processing that until the permit's expired.
Are you comfortable with releasing it now? I mean,
That's up to the board.
there's no
I mean,
dollar amount in there that I can see, right?
there
That's the
should
one I
be.
just showed you. It says total 0. So that's wrong? Yeah.
No signing.
Hold on, I've got something here. Because there's interest for January and February, so it's $6,960.01 plus interest for January and
You
February.
notice, yeah, by the school and places,
Yeah.
that they're pretty bright lights,
Intersections, yeah.
sucking a lot of.
Are you comfortable with this?
I wanna know what the
That's up to the
price is.
board.
Yeah.
I mean,
Addition
am
to-
I comfortable? I don't think we're gonna utilize outside consultants.
Right,
No.
Yeah.
Jim will do whatever's required. I
Yeah,
think.
I know.
Yeah.
so
All right.
you need a motion.
I'm sorry?
Do you need a motion?
Yeah, we do need a motion.
To
To return the remaining amount of money in the 53G account.
Oh, that's separate from the.
That's separate.
Yeah.
Restoration.
Correct.
Aha. And the amount we're,
The amount is $6,960.01
$6,960. Aha.
plus interest for January and February, which has not been calculated yet.
January and February 2017, obviously.
Yes.
And what's the name of the account? Special permit ER 14012.
It's the 53G account associated with this earth removal permit.
Want a motion?
Sure.
Board's ready? Mr. Chairman, I will move that the board vote to refund those funds remaining in the 53G account for the Earth removal permit ER 140129 in the amount of $6,960.01, and plus any interest accrued for the period January and February 2017.
Second.
Motion made by Evan, seconded by Mike. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion carries. We'll sign this. Okay, what's next, Bill? Still have a few minutes.
Okay. Number 5, application submittal checklist. Currently, when we get applications in, we request up to 19 copies. And in addition to the board getting their own copy, we distribute copies to all the departments and solicit feedback and input on all the applications. What we'd like to do is reduce the number of copies we get and just get hard copies for the board members in the file, and then transmit electronically to the department heads any application materials. And so we're going to substitute the balance from 10 copies, so 9, we'd save them 9 copies and ask for an electronic copy instead.
Let's do it.
Thumbs
Need a
up.
vote?
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
No, I just wanted to get your consensus
Okay,
on that.
do it.
I think I saw in here that
Save
it was
the trade.
18 total.
Okay.
But, yep, I'm all in favor of that.
Yeah.
Too much damn paper, and
I can't read any of these.
They only need to look at it for 2 seconds.
there's only 3 or 4
They don't,
boards.
they
This is all
return
good
it to
business.
us. They don't keep a record
Oh,
file.
even
So we
better.
end up with
Sometimes
all.
that's just for him, you know?
Well, I saw a line, so I
Okay.
signed it.
Right.
Annual report?
If there's not a copy in your packet, there should have been.
The annual report?
The annual report, that's just for your information. Ernie reviewed it.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay, next
Was it in-
meeting?
Was it in the last,
Was it in the last meeting?
the last meeting?
Okay, it was in the last
Yeah,
meeting.
it might have been in the last meeting.
So we did it? We did.
Yeah, she mentioned she forgot to take that off.
Minutes? Is that incomplete? People,
For the library.
yeah. Oh, you know.
I
I love
Excuse.
that. Recuse
Bill,
are
what
messages.
I say
It's all,
X.
usually when she
I love
turns it
that.
upside down, that's from
Makes
the
me a lot
last meeting.
happier.
Weren't you,
Oh, yeah.
5? Oh, yeah, I'm moving it.
So tight.
Number 5, we're gonna get electronic copies of the application. And save the
Minutes?
number of submittals we get, copies of the submittals.
Reduce it down.
Reduce it down from 18 to 10.
Streamlining.
Yeah.
Way better. Save a filing
Yep.
cabinet, too.
We still have a few minutes. Anything further, Bill, you want us to?
I don't know if you wanna start going into some of these bylaw questions.
I don't know if we have.
Why don't we
enough time.
start with number 4, that'd probably be the easiest. At the next selectmen's meeting, town council and I will be going, we'll be talking about the location for the adult entertainment overlay district and possibly marijuana dispensary locations. So
And before.
we might want to think about the location, as you know, with respect to the adult entertainment. We've talked about this for a number of years. It's located on state-owned land, so effectively, we don't have an adult entertainment
Did
overlay
someone
district.
catch us?
No, but it's something we should probably accommodate, otherwise, if someone wanted to come in, they could
Right, if we don't
challenge
have a
that they
district.
don't
Yeah, and put
have
it
a spot.
anywhere.
They can
Yeah.
put
They
it
can put it
anywhere.
anywhere. So we want to think
Great
about that.
notes out
Got
there.
plenty of land.
In your backyard.
Who said that? I was gonna say that too. I was gonna say that.
I always thought,
You got adequate parking?
I've been told it was over
I'll
there
find
where
it.
the wind farm was gonna go in.
It is, but the state ended up buying the parcel. That used to be privately owned, that
Right.
had this.
that little strip, yeah.
Oh,
It was a
okay.
good idea 25 years ago.
I shouldn't have used
Well, the
that
hard
word.
part is some of the zoning map itself is so wacky that there's no, I mean, like they said years ago, they went down the main road and said 200 feet, and just cut a swath.
Right.
Whereas now, you know, we've already had it where somebody's property, half is residential, a third of it's industrial, what do you do with it? So, I mean, I totally understand what has to be done, but I think it needs to go a little bit further than just moving it. Get some of those boundaries cleaned up.
Yeah.
It needs it, because land has been sold to the state, land that we thought was gonna be used for one thing, we don't even, state owns it now.
Yeah, we don't have.
So it's changing, it's fluid, and it's never been looked at in how long? How many years has it been?
Do I hear master plan?
Probably do.
But no,
I think you're chairing the subcommittee.
But you know what I'm saying, though? It is. The land is
Why is that
moving and
signed
being
by law?
sold and changed around, and people buy a house, but part of it's industrial, and now they're running into trouble because years ago, they just drew a line and said, there it is.
When you.
That's actually very complicated to do and get everybody on board.
I know.
It's a complicated thing.
It's
So I think
horrible.
we've got
You
two
wanna be
questions here.
tortured.
What you're talking about is a more global view.
I agree.
And what I'm talking about is a very specific concern, that, you know, we could potentially make this coming town meeting if we wanted to aggressively pursue this. Otherwise, let's put it on the radar screen and we'll deal with it at a later date. Like I said, Town Council Jay Tollerman will be at the next Selectmen's meeting, and this will be discussed.
Okay.
This as well as the marijuana.
Okay.
Yeah, we could
I
always
mean,
shoot,
it's-
we could always shoot for the fall special.
We could.
It's one of those things, you know, if it's put in an industrial, commercial area, let's make sure that industrial, commercial, that's what it is, and not a quarter of it's residential. That's the hard part, that's what I'm getting at.
Right, yeah.
Several years ago, Bill, we
You know?
We don't wanna put them
Right.
together, right.
upgraded or more closely defined the lines for all the zoning areas.
We did.
And I forget the method you used, some kind of electronic, something or other,
We-
computer.
It was quite a process, you know, we did
We
go
had
back.
that map approved through town meeting.
We
We
did.
did, yep.
And basically, the concept, and we have found little glitches, and we've repaired them, but it was no changes. The basic bottom line was, the intent of that new digital map was that there was no changes from the existing zoning map.
No, just more clearly defined where the
Correct.
heck is the line.
Correct.
Okay, we'll be eagerly awaiting your discussion with the selectmen on that.
Okay, I'll give you an update.
Thank you.
Nobody's banging on our doors
Not that I'm aware of.
no pun intended.
One more minute before 7:30, so we'll sit tight until our next public hearing.
I like your posts.
We can't start it.
I modified the bollard.
Looks good.
I am, you know, when you open
All
they
right,
start.
everybody sign this, both spots?
Why,
You read
you ducking up too?
No, I wanted to
both
leave,
spots?
but you guys were.
All right, 7:30, next item on our agenda. Public hearing continued.
Seven thirty.
Yes, I'm looking at the wrong.
There you go.
I got it. All right. Town of Douglas, Simon Fairfield Public Library, application for site plan review, 290 Main Street. Public hearing is now reopened.
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna excuse myself for avoid any conflict.
Okay? Let the record show that Evan is using some.
Good evening, Bill Cundiff, town engineer. We've been in front of the board a number of times, and I'll just review for the board's convenience a few changes we've made to the plan from the last meeting. The first change is we've extended the width of the driveway the entire length 4 feet. So basically, we're proposing to take out the granite wall and shift the wall back 4 feet, so that'll widen the entranceway. It will allow for 2 vehicles. It might be a little tight at this bottleneck location, but we do get as wide as 22 feet in the back. Now, that being said, I did go out as requested by the board and took some measurements to where the stairs were located. The stairs look like they are right on the property line. So it's not like they extend onto
Yeah.
our property, it's right there on the property line. There is a little paved sidewalk that goes from the stairs out to the front of the pizza shop, and there's another set of stairs towards the rear. So what I'm showing on the plan, and what I would propose, is that we have a wooden guardrail constructed along that length for a number of reasons. We want to protect the integrity of the stairs. We don't want someone accidentally bumping into it. I don't think bollards would be adequate because there'd be spacing and a gap between them. I think we need to have a guardrail. A wooden one will look okay.
Is it gonna be right on the property line?
It'll be right on the property line.
Exactly on it? Not on our side? Exactly on it?
Well, it'll extend onto ours. We can't put it on the property line. We can't put it on the abutter's property.
It's
Even though
thicker.
his
It's thicker than the
posts are,
property line.
the what?
It's thicker than the
Oh.
property line, so.
Good one.
Yeah, so the stairs would be on the other
So,
side of the
yeah,
railing.
that's what I'm,
The back end, basically the back end of the guardrail would be pretty much where the property line is. That's the
Okay.
plan.
okay.
And again, it's for pedestrian safety.
And it's big over on that side anyway, where is it extending to?
The guardrail,
Yeah.
So,
I have it shown going past the rear set of stairs. Because people will be coming
Says
down
no.
those stairs. I don't want them accidentally tripping or falling into where cars.
So you're
will-
running it where the
beginning-
car is?
see the
Beginning-
door?
Yeah. I see
Beginning
the
where?
door.
Thing is, you wanna see.
Beginning a few feet back from the front facade of the pizza place.
Yeah, you can't really, okay. Oh, it's that little,
It's a line with
So you're
circles.
gonna run it the whole way?
yeah, I'm trying to follow that, okay, so it
That's
goes a
the
little bit
second
beyond
stair.
the.
The whole
back
length,
stair.
yes.
That's the
It
second
starts
stairway.
up near the street.
That's
up.
interesting.
Because between the stairs, we have the, so you have sidewalk from the front of the pizza shop to the stairs. Then you'll have
Propane tanks.
the propane and the oil tanks, and then the second set of stairs. So I
And the
just showed.
pizza guy's not gonna be able to park there anymore. Where you're putting that.
Well, he's currently straddling the property line.
But yeah, there's not gonna be enough room between the
So-
existing
so
building and that
He may park
proposed.
back here, I
Okay.
don't know.
Yep,
Now, does that mean
now he has a brand new parking lot.
there won't be, what'd you call them, bollards?
No more bollards, no.
Not even around the propane tanks?
No.
No, because it's gonna be a guardrail.
Guardrail.
The guardrail,
Guardrail.
everything will
And it'll
be,
make it
everything will
look
be behind the
nice
guardrail.
and straight and keep on
Propane
your
tanks are a
side
little
and.
More
run on.
dangerous than the stairs.
That's
but
why the
okay.
guardrail's a better idea than the post, because
Yeah.
it's maintained, I mean, it's
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
continuous. yeah.
consistent, it's not
Yeah.
interrupted by anything.
I think
Okay.
it's a law anyway, isn't it, that they put,
It's up to the fire
Some kind
marshal on some of them.
yeah, around,
It's 'cause you stole his
tanks
chair.
like that?
No, no,
They have to be protected.
Would have to be protected, yeah.
This is
Yes.
the proper height.
Yeah, right.
Don't you feel low?
depends on where and what it is.
Yeah,
I'm coming down this.
and this fence is gonna be a wooden fence or
No,
guardrail?
it's a wooden guardrail, correct.
Wooden guardrail.
Similar to the one at the intersection of U and Perry.
Right,
That looks nice.
big 8x8.
Yeah, timbers.
I just wonder how many times they're gonna hit that.
Oh, probably not a lot.
You hit it
Not
once,
even
you're gonna
going
know it's
fast
These
at
cars
all.
will be going slow too, I imagine.
3 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty rugged, eh?
Unless they're delivering pizza.
Yeah.
Might go a little fast.
You'd have to be going awfully fast to
Yeah,
break
you have
through
to be
it.
going.
Yeah,
fast.
so there's nobody's gonna bust through that.
Since it's narrowed down in the front, and you suggested that you can get 2 cars by, maybe,
No, not maybe, you can.
in the back.
Well, like
17 feet wide.
17 feet,
7
so-
feet
right,
for
so
a
the
car
Car's gonna be
width.
8.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
think that's fine with mirrors and everything and all that, and truck?
Drive down some of the side streets in Douglas. They're
No,
narrow.
we know that.
That's probably wider than some.
So my question is, you're talking about 4 feet, I mean, is there something that's restricting 5 feet or 6 feet?
Well, I
or-
think the issue is, there's a couple of things. We have to start getting into reconfiguring this area in the road.
Right.
Right now, that 4-foot matches nicely into
The apron.
where the apron juts out into Route 16. Could we do it? Yes.
The slope too in the back. That
Widens
comes
up,
from the
yeah.
building down,
Should go
may
up.
not let us go back much further than that
Yeah,
Right.
one night.
without doing a
It's just
possible
where it's narrowing
regrade
down,
to the
could
building back.
The other thing, Aaron, is there may be some underground structures in this area, we're not sure. I know there's a couple
Well,
of
no,
roof
it's okay
leaders,
there,
there's a couple of roof leaders that go below grade I don't know where they go. Joe, do you know?
No, and I think they're long since plugged,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm sure.
not functioning.
And, but so, part of it is also the cost, you know, we're looking at these big granite retaining wall pieces, and, you know, as it is, I think we're gonna have to hire somebody to come in and relocate those.
Right, I think you've already got numbers on that. I think they said
Yes.
they had someone to do it.
Yeah.
Which is good.
And it's been approved.
Anything else, Bill?
Well, that's the edits that the planning board wanted, I don't know, I
Right.
think the trustees met tonight. and-
Yes.
Looking pretty good.
And the trustees, you were gonna vote to approve
there.
this?
Yeah, all set.
And you're
Yeah.
all set? Okay. So you're just waiting on our approval? Okay, board, any other questions,
You know, it's
concerns?
good, I like the idea with the wooden guardrail. It kind of blends into the area, it's not a steel guardrail or nothing, couple posts, lag it all in there, and,
That'll be perfectly fair.
I mean, yeah. And the entrance, it's wide enough for two, I mean, the odds of it,
But it's still only gonna be a right-hand turn, right?
It's gonna be a right-hand turn only.
Right-hand
Yes.
turn only, okay. Yep.
so,
Nope, that's, I think,
it isn't like a shopping mall where you have 5,000 cars running in and out of the place, so.
Not yet.
it's-
nope, I think
You get the parking lot.
A parking lot downtown, oh, that's prime.
I know, yeah, it might be. But it
Is
looks
there a
good.
list of waiver requests for this, since it's
No.
site plan review?
No? Actually, let me take that back. There were waiver requests in my original
Okay,
submittal.
so,
Basically, it's all of section 5,
Oops.
which is the landscaping,
can I just do as submitted previously?
as submitted previously,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, how are you gonna prevent
To,
the left-hand turns?
close public hearing first.
yeah, I know, and then,
And,
Should sign.
Yeah,
grant the waiver
like, what would you,
requested,
you
and then.
got traffic coming
Police
this way,
department will issue tickets.
where would you put your sign?
The sign will likely be probably on this corner,
Issue a book fine.
right-hand turn only.
There you go.
Okay.
I'll never do it again.
Okay, we ready, board?
Make a motion to close the public hearing for Town of Douglas.
Second.
Motion made by Tracy, seconded by Mike.
And I'll make a motion to grant the waivers that were previously requested, specifically all of section 5.
Second. Want to do it in one motion? Is it
No.
One motion?
No, we don't have to.
We'll close the public hearing, then.
Grant the waiver
Yeah, so, motion, all
request.
right, motion to
then-
close the public hearing, that's been
Because if
seconded by
some
Mike.
waivers were not granted, then we would have to make the decision based on those waivers that we're not gonna grant.
All right. Okay, well, we included them in one motion, yeah, all right, so, to close the public hearing and grant the waivers as requested, previously
We already
requested.
closed it.
No, we haven't voted on it yet.
Oh,
Yep.
Okay. So motion been made by Tracy, seconded by Mike.
you can say all of them.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? One abstention from Evan.
Mhm.
Did he recuse himself? Motion carries. Now, we need a motion to,
And I made the motion to grant the waivers as previously requested.
yeah, we included that in that.
Really?
Yeah, we did.
Oh,
We just
okay.
did that. Now we need a motion to approve the plan.
Oh, sorry.
Now we need a motion to approve the plan.
I'll make a motion to approve the site plan review for 290 Main Street.
Second.
Motion made by Tracy, seconded by Mike again. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Count Evan as one abstention again.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good luck, you guys.
thank you.
All right, you're good to go. Good luck.
Sorry, that was a little rough. I thought you guys had already voted.
No, we
Close
didn't.
it.
No, we're still. You jumped right through that. Any
Yeah, I was
motions?
trying to go quickly.
Good idea. All right.
Good idea, my
Turn the
bad.
page on that one.
Here we are. Welcome back, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Yeah, it's like if there
We still have a couple minutes before 7:45, which is our next public hearing.
Right, that's
Want
my
to do
point.
meeting minutes?
Even if the curb cut's not there.
It's a catch, Mason.
Sure.
Right there.
Okay.
I do, I found some.
All right, let's do the meeting
I
minutes.
can do it pretty much.
Tuesday, January 24.
Yep.
Here's your shovel.
Pay attention.
No.
Anyway,
Oh, one of those.
It's good. It's good. I did what I was at.
Well, ain't no big deal, see, just look.
Ready?
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Okay. Page 1, 7:06 PM.
Yep.
Talks about, well, it's a continuation of the Sleepy Hollow stuff. If you look down at the second paragraph,
Oh, minutes?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have
Are these
time.
mine? This is all my stuff here?
there, the first 3 lines pertain to the subdivision part of the project.
Okay.
And then it goes on to say, there's a, where is it? And also to continue the public hearing, blah, 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 for the earth removal special permit. And the number in there should not be DEF, it should be ER.
The definitive plan.
No,
That's
the
the
first part's the definitive plan. That's a long sentence.
Oh.
And the second
They
part
use the same
should be
number.
ER 16815.
Correct.
Which is different than the other number. Yeah, so it should
Okay.
be,
Yep, application for earth removal.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good catch.
Yeah, excellent, okay. Good.
Like a hawk.
Slow moving hawk.
So that should be 015.
Is that it?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
160815. ER.
Okay.
And that's kind of all I saw.
That's it?
I went through it.
Motion to approve the minutes of Tuesday, January 24, 2017 as amended.
Second.
Motion made by Evan, seconded by Mike. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, the motion
I
carries.
abstained,
One abstention? Oh, you weren't here, Ken?
Yep, he was absent.
Okay, one abstention from Ken. Okay.
Do we approve or do we accept? What is the proper?
Approved.
Approve the minutes.
Yeah, we approve the minutes.
Anything else we have to do? Or can I go?
I didn't see it. Oh.
What?
Well, we're doing this
I'm
one?
not done.
No.
Yeah, I'm not done.
Oh, butter.
Oh, okay, oh.
you can
We had other discussion.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we
You
do.
didn't say anything else.
Zoning bylaws?
Yeah, who put those on there?
What do you mean? I was asked to.
Who put, by whom?
This is for our consumption.
The board.
No, yeah, okay.
They
When was that?
were scheduled for our meeting that we canceled, so.
We-
You guys don't need me for that.
Vouchers?
You guys don't need me for that.
Fee schedule.
Probably not.
I said it looks good.
Looks good.
It's good to me.
Well, if you're gonna cut out,
Yeah, it's almost.
there's a letter in here
We got one.
regarding Lake Shore Drive.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Go look at it, well, I'm asking the board to go look at Lake Shore before our next meeting. when
Oh,
he's
Are they gonna
come in.
have the improvements done?
No.
Okay, so that's
Well, the
like.
question is it a public way, number one, number two, suitable with grade and construction, so.
Yeah, it says here that they plan on
He's planning on widening it.
widening it
but
850 feet
He'll
of
be
it.
coming in next week, it'd be good if the board took a
So,
look at it.
why don't we, and then fire needs to go out there and look at it.
Okay,
I mean, I would prefer to go look at it when, after the work is done.
okay,
Oh, you,
It has to
have
be
you ever seen it?
suitable
That's
with grade-
fine.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
I
fine.
have. We did Concom down there a
Okay.
bunch of times.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dave will be in at the next meeting, so, you know.
okay. I know it
That'll
well
be-
because I sand it.
Yeah, so that would be my,
I am going
my
to
opinion.
defer to our noble chairman,
Yeah.
since he knows it well.
Is it suitable
It's
with
car
grade
path.
and
Well, it's a
construction?
driveway.
Yeah.
Driveway.
Yeah, it's a cart path, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
My question
it needs
was-
some work.
Yeah, it's a
So it
two-track.
needs some work before he puts his application in.
It's off of Northwest Main Street.
Yeah.
He's not, I read the on his note, he says private way.
It's a private way.
Does he own it?
He owns half of it.
He owns half of it, right,
The
yeah.
other- the other side,
Yeah, 'cause
I
it's
think
all-
the property line straddles
So they jointly decided to widen the road. It's not like he's gonna personally widen it without the consent of the other party.
That's up to the board, I mean, up to him and his neighbor, I would
Yeah, it
think.
says we.
Yeah, but
There's a deer out there.
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, 'cause that goes
Yeah,
up-
that's not
It's
really,
not like,
our concern is only, is it adequate?
Yeah.
that goes up to the.
We're not
That's
getting
a civil
into,
matter.
I've never
we're not
driven
giving
up
him
there. That goes up
permission
the
to
lake.
do it.
No good,
We're-
yeah.
We're just saying,
I know what it is.
Okay.
yeah.
Drive by it twice a day.
How he gets on his neighbor's property is not up to us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, if it's not, suitable, then he shouldn't put his application in. That's my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah, he wants feedback from the board on, should he spend the money on a plan to have his property surveyed?
Right.
It's his prerogative if he wants to do that. There's no guarantees.
Right.
We're not telling him to,
Yeah, no, we're not
Do
giving-
anything.
We're not giving him any indication. All right, 7:45, next public hearing.
call me if you need me.
7:45, public hearing continued, Robert C. and Maribel Hare, Alan G. Riley, and Hunts Pond LLC. Application for a definitive subdivision plan, the lane at Hunts Pond, 187 Main Street, 175 Main Street, and 229 Main Street. Public hearing
Mr.
is now
Chairman, I'm gonna
reopened.
recuse myself for the night.
I'm sorry?
I'm gonna recuse myself.
Aye.
Yes, but I'm gonna take a snack before the rest of you.
Are you leaving the building?
Yes.
Tracy has
Is that
left
okay?
the building.
Wow, this is convenient.
that in advance?
Wow.
It's this thing called mandatory
No,
conflict.
a friend sent it to us, and I think it's.
You're leaving at 7:45? Tracy has
He
reported
Yeah.
sent
herself
to
at
us. I think it's
7:45.
from Switzerland.
Okay,
Good evening.
how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Good.
Mark Anderson, Heritage Design Group. With me here this evening is Alan Riley. I believe at the last meeting, the charge was to have Mr. Riley contact John Taylor, who owns the strip of land here on Brookside Drive, to acquire an easement for water purposes. So, fortunately, we were able to make contact within the past week, and we have made an arrangement that we will be gifted, the town will be gifted an easement for the water line.
Okay.
I have copies here of the draft legal for everyone, be the description. Mr. Taylor's attorney, Don Verostek, is drawing up the documents and getting John Taylor to sign them. And then we will submit those to the board. Probably have a town council review, I would think. Pretty straightforward.
And just for the record, I don't know that the town can just wholly accept this without approval from town meeting on accepting land.
Yeah.
I think they can accept an easement, but not the land.
No.
Where was the easement gonna be? Did you put it out, so it's hard to see that? Is this the one where that was to put in the loop?
Yep.
Yes,
Or to loop it?
to loop the water line, correct.
What's that have to do with
the deed?
Go out of business next year.
They're already out of business, I think, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay, well, so you don't think we can, it has to be
We'll
done
talk
town
to
meeting.
Jay, we'll
Yeah.
talk to Jay
Yeah.
about it. This is the
But
first I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
and-
I believe you're right, Bill, yeah.
Right, on that little strip.
That's nothing to do with it.
No, this is just an easement, there's nothing to do with the land. The land will still be there. The town has it in tax taking.
Yeah, so the tax, okay.
So I think that was one of the big things to get out of the way on this project.
Yes, it was. Yeah, very good, I'm glad you.
And the second minor change that I just wanted to point out to the board that we did was coming in off the first 1,000 feet of road. We basically split the project up into 3 phases instead of 2. So we're gonna come in 1,000 feet for phase 1, do a temporary cul-de-sac paved. Reason being is that, one, it prevents us from opening up all that extra land for nothing. We won't be doing anything back there. So this first 1,000 feet will kind of give us 6 lots or so, and give us a test for the market and see what's happening out there, rather than, going and disturbing everything, wetland crossing, tree cutting and all that. So we'll work just within that first 1,000 feet and see how all that transpires and how all that goes. So that was a minor change that we just added a phase. And I think it's a smart thing to do at this point. You know,
That'd be phase one. What are the other two phases?
phase 2 would be from here to the wetland crossing, and phase 3 would be after the wetland crossing out to the cul-de-sac.
And have you been to conservation on that?
Yes, we're just about wrapped up there now. We addressed all their comments. They've got new plans. So they have everything. They have a separate set of plans, which were for, just for conservation, but it'll also be included in this set as well at the end.
Bill, any comments?
Yeah, on the phasing plan, I'd like to see something submitted to the town showing the phasing delineation, so we can actually think about it. One of my concerns is, you know, this is likely to be contracted out to a third-party contractor, similar to Evergreen Estates. And I want to make sure that everybody's clear on the scope of what needs to get done. So, for example, Mark talked about a turnaround. I'm sure that's not shown on any of the drawings.
Right.
So we need to make sure that's addressed properly so that everybody's on the same page. And we're not getting pushback from some third-party contractor, and Alan's not getting hit for additional funds because they weren't expecting to do this.
Yeah.
You want something in a narrative or on the plans?
On the plans.
Okay, I think there is something on there now, but I'll double check on that.
They came
Yeah,
in Thursday or Friday
Yeah.
or something.
You called it a temporary cul-de-sac or turnaround.
Right.
Even if it's
Could you
not-
describe?
It'll be a full circle, full width, 60-foot radius, and paved.
And paved.
Yes,
Probably just base coat?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And before the wetlands crossing on phase 2, would you propose another?
Yes,
Turnaround there?
that's correct.
beforehand? Right.
So, yeah, this one, you know, just gives you an example of how it would work. And it is, you know, it does comply. If nothing ever happened here, you could have a completed project there and have a full cul-de-sac at 1,000 feet, which, you know, would work out fine within your bylaws and everything. So that was one of the key reasons I chose to put it there.
Yeah,
Right, well, that was one of the board's concerns earlier, too. I think it would actually went up to the wetland, you know, and then it may stop there temporarily, and then sometimes projects never quite get completely done.
Correct.
And so, and how the board should handle that with both the plans and any bonding and that kind of stuff.
Right, and this is another good way to do that, so that we don't open up a lot of land, you know, and destroy the land and build a road that, you know, the market isn't gonna absorb.
Right.
So this would give us a good chance to just do you know, 5 or 6 houses.
The concept's great, but I agree with Bill, we need the phasing on a plan.
Okay, we'll make sure it's on there.
So until the project would be complete, then it would just be deadhead water main going up to each phase.
Yes, it would.
You deadhead. the
That's
water
what they're proposing, and you know, last meeting,
Yeah.
you weren't here, Mark.
Right,
We only talked about 2 phases, and the board wanted to make sure that there was adequate assurance that, you know, they weren't releasing fully all the lots. We wanted to retain lots equivalent to the cost of closing the water loop to Brookside Drive. So think about that too. I don't know how phase 1 would play into this, or if you're even concerned about looping from phase 1. Maybe you just think about it from phase 2.
I think phase 1 is, 1,000 feet is by your bylaw, and it
would
wouldn't be
Yes, it would.
looping required.
That would be in our bylaw, right. It'd be up around the end of phase 2.
Sure, we understand that.
Yeah, once you come up to the
We'd have
wetland crossing, you
sure,
gotta really look
adequate
at.
funds for the looping.
Yeah, then that's when the looping and the bonding would all start for that,
Right.
the water.
Yeah.
All right.
The
As long as-
other thing, I mentioned this to Eric, I'm not sure if you relate it, but none of these drawings show the fully looped water line, okay? Now, I would recommend that we get a plan, it could be a separate drawing, that shows that portion of the water line from where you show it ending at the cul-de-sac to Brookside Drive. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, because, I mean, the decision just finally came, and they just got in touch with Taylor to get this.
Yeah, we'll put the water line on the plan.
That would be added to the package.
Yeah, it's already got all the water details on it, the hydrants, it's all the specs, and Bob Sullivan's approved those.
Right.
So we just had the shoulder line and the easement.
Yeah.
Yep. Nope,
Looks good.
seems like a good project.
So Eric made some edits. I haven't had a chance to look at them. They were submitted recently, so,
Okay.
you know.
So we'll continue.
Could we do the waivers?
Normally do them,
Yeah, we normally do them when we,
yeah.
We usually, usually when we're done with the file and everybody's happy with it, we close the hearing
and then do the
do waivers and see how that goes, and then we turn to approve the entire thing.
you
Oh, let's close the public hearing then.
know. No, we're not closing the public hearing tonight.
Because we have to remember,
Good shot, though.
when the board approves a definitive, we'd be approving the whole plan, and somehow fit into our motion or something about the phase 1 and phase 2
Okay,
and 3.
that's
that
fine
kind of-
with me.
We just have to be careful what we're actually approving and what the expectations are.
And I think Eric was going to get us a complete comprehensive list of the waivers, which,
Right.
you know, it's evolved.
I asked it, along with their full
That's-
citation
that's
to the
right,
parts
which we
of
have
the-
not done yet.
Right.
Here is a full list of waivers, and there's a copy for everyone. It's double-sided, saving trees, you know?
Yeah, there you go. That's a great idea, too.
They've been going up and down on the waivers and
Yeah,
there's been some changes.
there's 3
going on.
additional waivers since the preliminary,
So, yeah.
and those are shown there.
Okay.
So this is your
So I
final,
haven't looked at
final.
these.
Yes.
This is the final file?
Final,
Yep.
final, final.
Final.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just about there.
And Bill, you have a copy?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Got an extra for me?
Yeah.
How many you got
There should be 10 or 11 in this set.
You want one?
Yeah.
there? Yeah. We'll be seeing them.
You want another one?
You got another one there?
Yes, and Tracy will probably want one of each, so keep those on file. Okay. Anything further, Mike, for now?
If we're gonna continue, could it be for 2 weeks?
The 28th?
Yes.
Yep. There's only one thing on the agenda right
2
now, right?
weeks or
Yeah,
4
the
weeks?
public hearing.
Okay, when do you think you'll get me those revisions? on the plan?
Hopefully, those few things probably by Friday.
Okay.
So do you mean the 13th or the 14th or the 28th?
13. He said 2 weeks.
2 weeks, the 14th.
Yeah, March
Right.
14th.
On the 14th, you want, oh,
Not the
yeah,
28th.
yeah, not
I
two,
looked right
okay,
over.
not 2 meetings, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay,
2
March
weeks.
14th, you want to get in?
Yes.
Okay.
How long do you want for Gilboa Court?
No, that's the subdivision coming in at the end of Gilboa
Yeah, that's
Court.
brand new.
She submitted something before, it might have been conceptual.
Just,
Yeah.
it was discussion
It
only.
was just discussion,
Just
okay.
discussion.
But I remember it came before the board.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's brand new, so you're
Yeah.
gonna
Half
take a
hour.
while, and Bill's gonna have to review everything, depending when the plans come in. So you probably only need for that.
I would say
Half
half
hour?
hour,
Half
yeah.
hour, yeah, yeah.
So 7:45 then.
7:45 for this one?
Yep.
Okay. All right, someone want to make that motion? It's a
One question first.
Yeah, go ahead.
This tax thing here, is that all?
Oh, yeah, good one.
Oh, yeah, the taxes, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll just give you a little overview on that. This particular parcel, the John Taylor parcel, that's the one that's within Brookside Estate,
Yep.
was one of those odd strips of land projecting into the next abutting property. Our regs require that.
Yes.
When we go with town council and we go through the road acceptance process, town council always says, don't take that piece, because there's this thing called the derelict fee statute. And the butters own to the center of that, so it's worthless to the
Yeah.
town. As a practical matter, the former property owner, J.A. Taylor Construction, retained ownership of it, and I'm not even sure if they're in existence as a company or if they're solvent or what their story is.
I don't believe they
But
are.
nonetheless, taxes have not been paid in a number of years. I think it's up to about $2,500 in back
I think
taxes.
3,000 now with the interest, almost 3,000 with the interest.
2,500?
Now, the town treasurer is anxious and had previously included this parcel in the disposal of
Taking?
tax properties. And when this issue came up, she pulled it off the list. So she, I know, was expecting that this might be made whole in terms of the town and taxes.
Okay.
So I'm just informing the board of the status. I did talk to Jay about whether or not this particular parcel is considered part of the subdivision, and therefore J.A. Taylor Construction would be co-applicant on this. And he said, no, it would not.
It would not,
It would
okay.
not. So this would be an easement. And again, the easement is subject to town meeting approval for us to acquire it. If the easement were granted to the applicant and then subsequently to the town, you know, then we could, they could grant it tomorrow, and, you know, we wouldn't have this question mark on whether or not we had the rights to cross this property at a later date.
Yeah, okay.
And that make good sense as well. We could do that, and then when everything's conveyed over, we just convey that too.
Okay. Would you check, just make sure with Bob Sullivan? 'Cause it's gonna be his water line, so just make sure everything's,
His intention was to take it by eminent domain.
yeah, I know you
But,
talked about that.
you know, this circumvented all that time and money.
You know,
That
I
would
just
probably be
wouldn't
the
want there to be a problem in the future with, you know, town meeting for some unknown reason saying
Right,
no.
right.
And I can't imagine that happening, but,
For the easement you're talking?
yeah.
Yeah, you better check on that. I'm not, when we approve subdivision plans, there are often easements included for maintaining the detention ponds and all that kind of stuff. Those are easements.
Those are.
And if an easement's on this is a definitive, we're not buying the land. If it's just an easement, I'm not sure it has to go to town meeting. I don't recall
I'm
that.
pretty sure it does. We previously had a standing warrant article in town meeting to allow us to,
The selectmen.
the selectmen, to accept drainage easements.
Right.
Because we found numerous cases, according to town council Rich Bowen, the selectmen's council, we still have to go individually for each easement parcel to get town meeting approval. So that's town council for the selectmen. I'm just letting you know what
Okay.
we've learned in the past.
So we need
Because
an
I don't
answer.
recall doing that before, for easements. I think the selectmen can accept or order an easement, et cetera.
We've generally acquired these types of things as part of subdivisions, as part of the order of taking when we accept the layout and record that at the registry.
Well, the drainage easements or for retention, detention pond type stuff for maintenance, et cetera, they get approved on the plan, which the planning board approves.
Right.
Nobody else takes a vote on it.
We acquire that when we accept the layouts.
When you accept the
Layout.
street,
The
yeah,
layouts,
You mean to make it a public way?
correct.
yeah.
So why can't that be the case here?
That's a good question. I would think, again, this is off locus, it's a separate parcel. It's not technically part of the project. If the land were part of the project, then yes, I would agree.
Right, because we haven't technically accepted it yet, like you said.
So
Jay
in
said
other
not
words, if
to.
J. Taylor Construction were co-applicant.
Right, but it's just an easement, not the ownership of the
Okay.
land.
I mean,
And
I'm
the
happy-
water line is part of the project.
It is,
Yeah,
yes.
so the water line's going on,
I can put it to Jay.
please? I mean, yeah,
It's just doing things simply as opposed to complexly. It's just,
yeah. Let me make sure that we're covered.
You know who you're dealing with, right?
Yeah, that's right.
The town.
Well, you can ask them, we'll see what we.
Oh,
We can ask him.
I mean, worst case
Are you
scenario
guys
goes
gonna
to
be
town
acquiring
meeting.
that property?
No,
You're not.
he just granted a water line easement
That's all.
to the
Okay.
town, which is what
All right,
the
all
water
right,
department
all
said
right.
they wanted, and the
Right.
planning board said they wanted.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
So we need the gift of the easement now.
No, that's what we asked for.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
So, if this goes to, obviously this whole easement, the entire thing will ultimately go to the town.
Right.
You know, they're gonna have to have control out of that, where they won't own the land, but they'll own the
An
easement through there.
Yeah.
Just,
but he wants to gift the actual little strip to the town?
Just an easement over that
Just the
strip.
easement,
Yeah.
not the title to the property.
Correct.
no, not the title to the property.
Just an easement over there. which is obviously good for this project, and it's good for the town.
That's fine.
Because, you know, you're looping water, anytime you're looping water,
That's a good thing.
it's a positive thing.
If you had it in writing that it's a gifted easement,
Yeah,
He
why-
retains
why are we
ownership
buying
of the
it?
if
land.
he retains ownership,
He
wouldn't
grants
that be no
access.
different than this?
What are you saying? Do they still have to go to town meeting? Is that your question?
Yeah. Would it still have to go to town?
I think so, but I'll ask town council.
Okay. All right.
Nobody's buying it.
I mean, it's not
I
gonna,
understand.
it's not gonna be an issue at
I
town meeting, as
understand.
far as
No.
I can tell.
No,
It's
but-
not costing the town
No,
money.
but I'm just saying,
So,
I just don't recall
I mean,
it.
it'd be nice to do it simpler, but if we have to, it'll work.
it is what it is, yeah. And it's not like it's gonna happen next week, so it is, there is a little
And
bit
if the,
of time.
if the taxes remain unpaid, does that affect the easement at all? I wouldn't think so.
It shouldn't.
And since this little strip is not a formal part of the project, the easement and the water line would be, but not that little piece of land, right?
Correct.
Because of our bylaw that says you shouldn't approve any permit or
Right.
approval if their tax is
Right.
owed.
We're not,
But that may not apply in this case.
because it's just an easement for a water line. right,
And that
which
was
benefits
my
the
exact
town.
conversation with town council.
But taxes are up to date on all the rest of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The big piece.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and whereas it's gonna be in phases, I mean, if it does end up in the fact that we have to go to a town meeting for this, so be it.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get out there for a few years.
That's what I was
right.
just saying, it's not like anything's gonna happen in the next
Right.
2 weeks.
Well,
I
we've
mean,
had situations where we've been promised easements and land, Mark, and we've never acquired
Right.
them. So that's been
I'd like to
a
get it.
conservation drive, for
Yeah,
example.
yeah, I'd like to get it done now, yeah, but we'll get the clarification from the
No,
town council.
that's great. I'm just making a point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it can happen, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we'll check with our council too, and also check to see if it's better that Alan gets it.
Yeah.
And deeds over everything all at once.
That's, yep, even better. That'd be great, Mark.
Maybe even simpler.
Yep,
yeah,
He gets it, and then he deeds this as all one easement.
that's
one
fine.
chunk, and it's all on one
Right.
plan, done and over.
Part of the
Mhm.
project.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, any other
Okay.
questions? Bill, anything further?
Nope.
Okay, somebody want to make a
Thank
motion?
you.
Continue the public hearing to March, first meeting in March?
14th at 7:45.
Great to see you all again.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I'll make
Thank you.
a motion, Mr. Chairman, to continue the public hearing for definitive subdivision plan 160627, so-called The Lane at Hunts Pond, to March 14 at 7:45.
Yep.
Second?
Motion made by Evans, seconded by Mike Z. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Let the record show Tracy was absent.
He's fine on this thing?
I don't know. Mark,
Sorry,
I'm sure they'll give us one. I think they gave us plenty of time, but
yeah, I was just gonna, he's already, I was gonna ask, is,
Yeah, I just thought of it.
I'll get it from him tomorrow. I'll give you a
yeah,
call.
check with him, and then if he does, just get it from him. All right. Very good, moving right along. All right, we have two items for discussion. Zoning bylaw, earth removal, and zoning bylaw assisted living.
What happens in, curiosity, what happened to number 7, sign vouchers? Is that go away?
No, we signed it.
Oh, yeah.
That was the Jim Pine thing.
We did.
Yeah, we did, yeah, yeah, we already did that, yeah.
Twice.
You're right, he went away.
Good job.
Oh, no way.
I didn't know that's what I referred to.
Okay, earth removal bylaw, the reason this is on here, we have town meeting coming up. I wanted to raise the question with the board on section 6.1.6, number 4,
Page 26.
which has to do with that question on excavation not intended for approved building purposes or any other activity or building shall not be within 100 feet of a wetland. Oh, I'm sorry, number 3, not number 4. Excavation not intended for approved building purposes or any other activity or building shall not be within 100 feet of an existing public way or an adjacent property line. As the board knows, the issue has been the interpretation of what approved building purposes means. So, so what I would say is, instead of saying approved building purposes, what I would suggest to the board is we strike approved building purposes and say activities identified under section 6.1.3, number 1.
Under which one? 6.1.3, number 1?
Yeah, we're gonna make that, but that's, we'll be making, there is no 6.3. We'll be
Yeah,
making a
so we
point.
gotta write that. And that will be what's proposed at the meeting?
That's what I would advertise as being the proposed edit.
No. Station walks, driveways.
So what will 6.3.1 be?
It is, it currently is, and what 6.1.3 says, it's the exemption section, but we're talking about the activities.
Excavation, all
Yep.
So basically, I believe it was the board's original intention to mirror this section, which talks about construction of a house foundation, a septic system, a walkway, a driveway. And this is not peripheral grading to get down to a certain elevation. So even a single-family house is not exempt from the earth removal bylaw if they exceed the thresholds. The items of the foundation hole, the actual cellar hole, the septic system excavation, those items are exempt. So you can certainly put a house at grade, excavate a cellar hole foundation that exceeds 300 cubic yards per year, as long as it's just that cellar hole. Okay? So if you're excavating 100 feet to get to that cellar hole, that whole 100 feet is not exempt, just the cellar hole is.
Okay.
That makes, I think that's what it means.
That clarifies it. Until the next guy comes in with his interpretation, but that's,
Well,
clarifies it.
it's clearer than it is now.
Clearer than it is now,
Right.
yep. Nope, I like that, Bill, that's good, yep.
And I'll run that proposal by town council, and I think that's what the intent of the board is, and
I think it is,
if town council makes some suggestions on editing that,
Yeah.
I'll incorporate those edits,
Okay.
but that's the gist of it.
Can we do this? And tell me if I'm crazy on it or not.
Crazy.
There we go. On that, I totally agree. But after that paragraph, put IE as an example. Something to lay out. What you just said would be fine.
Has
as a description.
swimming pools, walks, driveways, septic systems.
It's still
That's great.
incidental to the construction.
I think it's very clear, Mike.
Yeah.
Excavation incidental to the construction of all buildings for which all permits required for construction have been issued.
Right.
Nor to the installation of walks, driveways, septic systems, swimming pools, or other accessory uses and expansions thereto, provided the quantity of material removed shall not exceed that that's the key. The quantity of materials removed shall not exceed that displaced by the portion of the building or accessory use below finished
Okay.
grade.
Yeah,
Here we go. You have a slope. I wanna put my cellar over here. What you're saying, I can only remove the square footage of that basement. I can't go into that slope?
Correct.
Don't go for it. I don't believe it.
Why not?
'Cause I had to do it. Almost everybody has to do it.
Yeah, but you didn't remove the material from your site. They can certainly push material around the site to make that grade. But
Yeah.
if they exceed the threshold for the earth removal bylaw, this.
For the 300 cubic
The existing
yards.
exemption, that's right, the
Right,
existing
for the
exemption,
300 cubic yards.
just for what's below finished grade.
Yeah. All right.
I think it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
So, You're right.
Well, we all say it's pretty clear, but every time something comes up, there's always question on it. That's
Yeah.
why I'm saying it.
Yeah, well, there's always gonna be somebody that's gonna try to
Right.
bring his
Circumnavigate
interpretation of it.
But the more, if you lay it out point blank, like you just said, I know what you're saying, this is pretty self-explanatory. But if you go that one little extra step, it really clarifies what we mean by saying this.
Well, it does say, and expansions there too.
So,
What does that mean? And I think what Mike's looking for is, and associated grade work. How would that be?
expansions there too.
Well, that's where the problem comes. And again, this is a policy decision for the
Right.
board. The associated grading poses the problem, because we have had applicants come before this board, and the board's taken the position on this exemption that it's not exempt. The associated grading is not exempt. Glen Street, we had one.
Yep.
There was another one. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But the board has required, I think Jefferson Drive is another. But we've had issues where developers had claimed exempt activity with associated grading, and the board's taken the position, no, it's just the cellar hole foundation.
Which means then they have to go for an earth removal permit.
If they remove more than
If they, 300.
300.
Yeah.
Well, what's your interpretation of that, those two words, and expansions there too?
I think they're talking about expansions to either a septic system or a house. So if you have a house and you want to put in a
Accessory apartment?
great room or an accessory apartment, and then you excavate that foundation, the same rule applies. It's below finished grade, that part's exempt.
That's even clearer.
It ties this back to this, which is what the argument was.
Right.
So,
But what I'm saying is another sentence or so would clarify it even more. Or an example, an i.e. example thereof, this is what we mean.
So what we can do is, think about it over the next couple of weeks. I can put the boilerplate together, if we agree in concept. And then if you think it needs a little clarification, we'll have the public hearing, we'll throw that part in, and then we'll be off and running.
Well, we
Is it
still
correct
have,
to-
in the bylaw, there's, in 6110, special permit relief. Where the board can waive strict compliance with this bylaw for good reason, just cause, and if it's in the best interest of earth removal and the town. So, that's always there.
Yes.
If somebody asks for relief, such as what maybe you're saying,
Yeah.
like, I'm not gonna have a house and then
Well, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
I wanna be able to grade that out.
Yeah.
And maybe take that material and do a front lawn with it, or whatever, but,
Right.
if that's, and we find that the other one won't allow it, then we could waive something there. If we're convinced
Right.
it's, somebody's not trying to get away with
Yeah.
a lot of.
Well, that's
illegal
it.
We
removal.
review it and decide to.
Right.
Right.
Cool, I'm good with that.
can I ask
Yeah.
a question?
Of course.
The intent here is that, as I understand what you're saying, if the excavation is not one of these four things in 613.
We're
then-
just talking about number one.
Oh, okay. Well, that confuses me then even more, okay. Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, those are the
Alright,
exceptions.
so,
We're talking about this one.
I thought he was talking about, he wants to modify number 4 over here, right?
Three. Four is water.
The wrong thing was,
Three is, building.
it's number 3.
Yeah, it's got number
It is.
4. See, but it should be
Bracket-
number
it's
3.
bracketed, but-
It should be brackets.
I bracketed it by mistake. I read the first sentence.
We're not doing anything with 4, we're doing it with 3 above
It's
it.
three. It's
3 should have been
Can't
bracketed.
blame Maria.
That one's fine.
But
That's on you. That's on him instead of Maria.
I mean,
I think Mike's point is, and I would defend it myself, because you buy a piece of property and you're gonna build a house, and that's your dream. You wanna do it. It's your property, your land.
Yes.
And you find that, Jesus, now I gotta go for a special permit for earth removal because I can't damn well put a backyard in there because, you know, and that always bothers me, you know.
Right.
Somebody buys the land, has their dream, wants to do it, and these permits and regulations and everything piles up on you, and you know, it gets very frustrating.
And I agree with that concept also. But if it walks like a duck and acts like a duck, it's a duck. It's either an earth removal project or it's a house construction project, you know?
And we have the
Most
ability
people will be able to see the
to
difference.
separate that and grant
most,
the
but
way.
not everybody goes and reads every single paragraph in these bylaws.
Most people wouldn't.
Okay, and that's what I'm trying to, in case they do, you try to keep it as simple as laid out as you can. For an average person going in and buying just a chunk of land to build a house, not having a lawyer having to read every paragraph and every bylaw that we have. So if it's laid out simple, where it can be understandable, it makes life a lot easier. That's all I'm trying to get at.
So we'll take it up at the public hearing.
So I'll make those edits and then we'll advertise the hearing and then we'll move forward. Okay.
Jeremy, you got a question?
Yeah, quite frankly, you're adjusting the bylaw, it seems like, for one particular person, based on one particular instance that we're up against here. Maybe you shouldn't make a 6.1.2.3 or whatever the hell it is, and say that a person should finish a project off when they're supposed to.
Okay, we had a question regarding the bylaw and its interpretation, and all we're doing is trying to clarify that
Yeah,
interpretation.
you're clarifying it to one person's advantage.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
No, no, no.
Well, that's my personal opinion.
Okay, you can have that, a personal opinion, but we're not clarifying it for any one person's advantage.
No, you're modifying it to one particular person's advantage.
No, we're not.
No.
It's a response
We
to,
just,
that's why we're.
Okay, anything else on that one, Bill?
No.
No?
No, sounds
Okay,
good.
Let's go on to the next one. Assisted living facilities.
Assisted living facilities.
This is the one you found.
I think, Evan, I'm gonna turn this one over to you. I think
Okay.
you had some proposals.
Suggesting closer to.
Well, I found out when we were reviewing the last application for this type of assisted living facility, I read the text and then I went to the use table and found that there was inconsistency. And I believe the text says that assisted living facilities are not allowed in industrial and state forest open land, I think. And then in the back of your zoning book has the tables, schedule of uses, and it says that it's not allowed in commercial, not allowed in industrial, and not allowed in the state forest open.
Really?
And,
Should be allowed in commercial.
How do we miss that?
so
what are you proposing?
I would suggest that we allow assisted living facilities in any zone except the state forest open space maybe.
Yeah.
And so that part we had trouble with about the use of a building, you could do it on a smaller lot and everything. It's run out of its practical use anymore. That was like if it's a small factory building or even an old church.
Could be converted.
Yeah, then it can be converted. And a lot of those are in commercial or industrial zones.
Yeah.
And here we have a bylaw that says you can't do this in those zones, so it's like, it didn't make much sense to me, so I said, why don't we open it to any zone except state forest open space?
Okay, so in the use table specifically, Evan,
Yeah, what page of the use table are you on here?
Assisted living, is it a step, it's its own category? Own use?
So PB on commercial and industrial, because they add
Assisted living.
Page 104.
Yeah, it says commercial, industrial, and SFOS, no, N.
Page 104 in Appendix A.
Oh, I see it.
Okay, so under, it's number 8 under residential.
Yep.
And those 3 Ns will then be PB.
Except the state forest.
The state forest would stay in.
Right.
So 2 inch, right?
Okay, so,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
okay, so we're gonna keep state forest N. So,
Be nice to live.
nothing in the body of the bylaw?
Yes. As soon as I find it, yeah. Okay. How the hell is it?
What's that one?
Oh, here you go, there's something on page 64. 7.3.3. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, you're right. It's because it's
All
there, it
districts
says except
I
one. is-
and F.
We want
except
to
one.
strike I,
Oh, yeah, here it is.
Strike
Yeah,
I and.
in all district, yeah, there it is.
except SFOS.
Except SFOS, correct.
Good catch.
Strike the I. There it is, good catch. I skimmed right over that. Special
That's why he does our meeting minutes.
Yes.
So you can clearly see.
Eagle eye,
Like
yeah.
you, that's right, it's not hard.
But they did not agree, obviously, the two things.
Okay, so that's, okay, anything further on it, Evan?
No, that was it, and I
Well,
said,
the only thing I wanted to ask you was,
Yeah.
we had that conversation about previous buildings. Let's see, 7311, you know, that was the issue with the applicant that came before us.
oh, yeah, there is another point, too.
Oh, yeah,
Go ahead.
conversion of existing.
Yeah, so basically what this says is, applicants wishing to
Oh,
convert
yeah.
existing structures to
Suitable.
assisted living facilities may do so subject to a special permit where such building is located on a lot with at least 30,000 square feet of area. The planning board may permit expansion of the structure to the degree reasonably necessary to construct entryways, features, and comply with ADA requirements, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know if you think that's still valid, or, you know, the proposal we had was on a parcel that was,
A house?
that was a house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
what
he
was-
tried to
wasn't
say
it
it wasn't
like-
needed because they couldn't get the
Wasn't
money
it
for
like a
it.
5,000 square foot issue or something?
Well, that's,
Well, earlier in the bylaw, it says it needs 5 acres of
well,
land.
I was gonna
5 acres.
ask to clarify that, because it says shall have at least, we should maybe say must have 5 acres. Right now, it's, that's a gray area.
Well, shall is pretty definitive.
As opposed to.
It's interchangeable.
Compared to
must.
when you say
Yeah.
must have.
It's the same.
It's the same, yeah.
If you say may, that's where the question
That,
comes.
yeah, usually if you say may,
Yeah.
that's where a question, if shall and must are the same word.
All right, because if
Say
that's the
interpretation
case,
in the legal.
then that applicant should have never even been brought in front of us, because it wasn't 5 acres.
They were-
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
they were
he
looking for-
files, he's
yeah,
coming in front
They
of
were
us.
looking for a
We talked
waiver.
About that.
I don't know
Well,
why you
that's
did, but
what I'm
anybody can
saying.
file anything to come in front of us, it's.
Can that be waived,
In the 5,
the 5 acres? That's what I'm trying to get at.
If there's a provision in the bylaw for waivers, then it can be, otherwise it cannot be.
yeah. And that's in the provision somewhere.
And I believe there was no provision in this bylaw.
I don't think so.
And I don't know, maybe you want to add that standard lingo, giving the board the ability to waive some of these things.
Yeah, but-
Given, you know, I think independently, each application, you know,
It's gonna be different.
Well,
Yeah, but
it might
this
make
is-
sense in a particular location and not meet the letter of the bylaw.
Yeah.
Well, this is only, it says in the residential district, which
Right.
has a higher level of standard because of the adjacency of
Well, it was in a
personal-
residential area and it was under 5 acres.
Right, so it should never
So-
come, right. it's-
Right, that's what I'm
yeah.
getting at. We went through that whole thing,
Right.
and in reality, the first night should have been, is there 5 acres? No, there isn't.
Goodbye.
Sorry, we can't help you. Instead of dragging it through all that stuff.
Yeah, but it came up.
the-
Yeah, but
It came up
wasn't
in
there
the meetings,
something
but
where
we didn't-
it could be reduced if,
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Where's the part
We're
that says it
saying
can be
it's-
reduced?
The builder said there's nothing in there that says we
I
can.
thought there was something.
Yeah, it's 5 acres unless you qualify under 7311, which says you can go down to 30,000 square feet.
Right, if it's no longer needed.
right.
Can we consider striking the no longer needed? Because suitable, is a much more definitive thing versus needed, oh, I don't need it anymore. It's not a standard.
Right, the
what
measure,
we can-
the measure for what is needed.
That's a good point. Bothers me too.
Remember he
That's
said he couldn't get enough money, he can make more money by selling, he couldn't get enough of the house, so it's no longer
Well,
needed.
no, he didn't need the house anymore because they
Right.
were moving.
So-
You were
Yeah.
moving, that's
Right.
why.
Yeah, right.
So we should strike
We
the
could
needed.
strike that, and then it makes more
Yeah.
sense anyway, right?
Buildings no longer suitable for the original use, like a warehouse or an old factory or mill.
That, a residential house
Is
is
suitable
still
as a
suitable
house.
for another residential
Right,
living.
like, get
Maybe
rid of
it
the
could be a
needed part.
factory that's no longer needed for its original.
See, my daughters say they don't need something, they want something else, it's the same thing. So get rid of that, it would help.
No, they never say they don't need something.
They always need something.
No, but they say it's no longer needed, they need something
Oh,
else,
that's true.
something new.
I'm still gonna keep it, but it's no longer needed.
There's no
Use of buildings.
definition of suitable either.
And like you're saying, though, there's nothing really in here that,
No longer suitable, that's
Wait,
it.
that's not correct either. You just, the examples you give, like an old church or an old something,
Right,
It can still be used as a church if it's a church, if somebody wants to use it as
you
such.
can't just say no longer used then.
It's still
Excuse me.
suitable to be a church if
Yes.
it's a church.
exactly.
Yeah.
right, but if it is church and they come here,
And they say
and
they
they
don't
say
need it
it's not
'cause
suitable for church anymore because there are no people looking for churches, that could cover that as well. It's
Right.
not suitable for church anymore, because there's no base.
There could also be a need, how many people live in a $1 million house?
This particular church.
You have one in every 10,000, just no different than a church.
I say keep the word needed in there.
Just
then
keep
how
it in
about
there, we have
accept-
to,
How about we
do our
say
due diligence.
accepted residential zone, because never can a house not be needed or suitable to be a house, unless it's in a different zone. Say it's in a commercial zone or downtown mixed use, then they can make that case, but in a normal residential neighborhood, you can't be picking a house out and saying it's not needed.
I think we came to the right decision
Needed
based
is
on
in the eyes of the
the
beholder.
information
Yeah, I
we
do.
presented. So,
Okay, if we're good enough for that.
We talked it out as a board, which is
Yeah.
right, debate it,
we had
think
Nate
about it.
Council,
Good.
made sense to me.
So are we changing that or leaving it? Keep the word needed in?
I
That's
think
fine, it doesn't
that-
matter either way.
It's scary if you take it out, because it,
But that's a good point about a church. It's still suitable as a church.
still suitable.
Someday some pilgrims may come along.
Yeah,
they may reopen the diocese or whatever,
Yeah,
I
it
don't know.
could be,
Yeah, but I mean, you think like a church that, like, they just closed St. Anne's in Manchug. So it was no longer, it's no longer a church. I mean, it's still a big building, it's still.
but it's not needed as a
But
church.
it's not
so you
needed,
can
it's
do
not
something else
needed
with
as a church anymore, because the
the one
parish
across from
closed.
Beck's was up for sale.
Right.
Could have been a restaurant or something, I suppose, but.
Actually, another religious
group came in.
organization,
They
another
bought it.
religious
Say there's a
organization
church in a
purchased it, but-
residential neighborhood, squarely in a residential.
They are, there's a house on each side.
But you don't want to
Behind it.
necessarily put an assisted living in that
Yeah,
either,
right,
because it's a
exactly.
residential neighborhood,
Yeah,
it's a higher
Yeah,
protected.
but then we would have to review it.
Yeah, we'd review it. It's
Well,
easy enough.
whoever's on the board at
But,
that point.
yeah, I mean, but you got,
I
you got
think
a
we
house
all
on each
agree
side,
the
then you
same
got
thing.
Busquets and Beck's across the street, so, when you draw the residential commercial line.
Should there be
That's,
wording in
it's old
here
neighborhood.
It's
It's-
Manchug.
it's- Yeah, it's the old,
Board has
it's old
the right
neighborhood.
to, like you were saying, on land
I mean,
size,
that's why
any of that,
that's why we're here.
That's why we're here.
to alter or ask for waivers?
Why we're here.
Is that
There's,
needed?
no, that's not in here, and if the board wanted some relief from these being mandatory, you should add a sentence that says, the board has the ability to.
We deal with it.
Should we do that?
Comes along, that's all.
I always like
Try to have the
that.
advantage.
To waive, the same one,
It gives the board the ability to make that decision.
to waive strict
Right.
compliance with this bylaw if it's found to be in the best interest of the town. et cetera.
And community, yeah.
And community.
Because there's always situations that
Right.
come up like that.
It's a trap door, you
So
always.
at least have the power to.
And as a zoning bylaw, we can't unless it's granted to us.
Right.
Right,
Right.
okay.
That's good.
Okay, one more point on this.
Then-
On page 66, number 8. The last sentence.
Yep. Design and
Number 8. The facility shall be served by the municipal water system. That immediately excludes a hell of a lot of the town.
Like most of it.
Strike that?
I would strike that, and if they're gonna have more than 25 people, DEP regs
Right.
cut in.
That's
and
correct.
If it
They
becomes
jump
a public
right-
water
they
supply,
jump right on
it
that,
must
yeah.
meet DEP
And be
regs.
monitored and measured and
Correct.
sampled.
Yep.
So it's
Yep.
moot anyway, it doesn't need to be there.
Yep.
Also, under building design architectural character, do we want to say building construction style must be distinctively residential? I mean, it could be a 50-unit assisted living, it may not be distinctively
But
architecturally.
that's where our option now with the waivers, we'd have the authority to do them, not worry about that.
Aaron's an architect, he has an eye for
You
this.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's,
Because whereas before, we didn't have that authority, and now there is that authority.
the standard of doing an architectural residential type look, distinctively residential. It's tough on a larger building, you know, so.
I mean,
Leave it in, it
it's in the eye of the board.
Well, now, yeah, and with the waiver.
Whether it's needed or suitable, you can leave it in.
But we all have to remember, that someday, a lot of us won't be here, there'll be other members, you know, and but clarifying language that we've tripped over and had trouble with should help future boards, but boards come and go,
Yeah.
and people come and go.
Yep.
They may have a different interpretation from ours.
Oh, yeah.
One thing I would suggest, and, certainly open for the board's consideration, is 7312 on page 67.
Beat this to death.
Well, no, this is a practical matter. It leaves a lot of these things up to the board to make a determination on. From my perspective, it makes it much easier if we put demonstration of these things on the applicant, and then the board just includes that in the findings. So often, applicants may not address some of these items, but this bylaw makes it a requirement that we make a finding on these things.
You have to clarify who's responsible for making. I agree. Just like doing a traffic plan.
Right.
And stuff like that.
Right.
It's no different. What's the difference?
Right. So even if it's a sentence from the applicant, then we can make a finding on what they presented.
So they have to address this in the application.
They would have to address these things in the application.
All right.
Doesn't have to be by an engineer or anything,
Right.
but at least we can make a determination on what they've presented and not be off on our own.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
We would do it with.
So it's like a checklist, but the narrative checklist.
Correct.
Right.
Good.
Item number
7.3.12.
So what would you change? You
Item
change it
number-
so that the,
I would just add something like,
if the applicant has demonstrated
applicant shall
compliance
present
with.
information
On
to
the
allow the
following.
planning board to make this determination
On the
or something
following
like that.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Demonstrated compliance with these.
Right.
And wherever it says, like the first one, the proposed ALF complies with the requirements of this section, that's
Yeah.
the entire 7.3,
that was my-
not just the instance section here. Obviously. People sometimes,
Yeah.
it
they
isn't,
do get
yeah,
confused.
you have the main
By that.
section and then
Yes, they do.
subsections and subsections.
That's what I was trying to ask, so should we clarifying section?
Yeah, well.
Yeah, well, instead of this section, just say the
The entire
entire
bylaw, right?
bylaw, the entire,
Bylaw.
or 7.3
Section 2, yeah.
of the entire section, the entire 7.3.
Yes.
You know, it's just the entire at the end of that.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Good job.
Anything else?
Nope.
Good stuff.
So we've signed everything, we've done meeting minutes.
Yeah.
All right, anything that wasn't anticipated?
In your packet, you have a copy of a fee schedule survey.
Yep.
The Strategic Budget Committee has requested this. What I'd like to do is send them a memo presenting the summary and saying that the planning board will review our fee schedule and adjust as may be appropriated, basically.
That's fine.
Is there a deadline
That's
on that?
neutral enough.
Well, I've got to get them the response, at least I'm responding to it, but in the general scheme of things, our area is so minor. It's
Yeah.
not
We're good.
an issue.
I looked at them. I
Yeah,
think they're fine the way
Yeah,
they are.
they are.
Okay.
The only one the only one that caught me is we charge an awful lot for the site plan review.
More than these other things?
Yeah.
And that's fine if you want to, if you think it's appropriate to reduce, I mean.
That's the only one that caught my eye. The other ones, they seemed all right. And in order to be a fee and not a tax, it must meet certain requirements set forth by the Supreme Court.
Yeah, still the same.
Superior.
Still the same word. Fee and tax is still the same word.
Yeah.
Look them up in the dictionary, they should be right next to each other. All right, anything further?
Information, the ZBA will be hearing again the
Dunkin' Donuts.
drive-through facility special permit on Route 16 and Rydell Road.
That's their next meeting?
Yeah, Wednesday night, tomorrow
Okay.
night. Tomorrow
And then
night.
if they approve it, it comes to us for site plan review after that.
They'll probably file again with us for site plan review.
Because the rest of it, I think we had no trouble with.
They were addressing things, but they were moving along, and then it got tied up with this, and
Yeah,
then,
because they already talked to the state, and it was already reviewed for having a turn-in lane and all that kind of stuff, right? On 16 there.
they don't have to deal with the state. That's a local law.
Well, I mean, it was brought up, and they said, yeah.
They were in the process of adding a turning lane with queuing vehicles when they applied to the ZBA, and then the ZBA had one meeting, and
Yeah.
they said no.
Supposed to move to telephone pole and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. But they were, in my opinion, they were making good faith effort at addressing some of the issues and concerns.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to give you that as information.
Appreciate that, thank you. These are extra copies of the easement document in the waivers.
Thank you.
Okay, anything further, board?
I will be absent from the next meeting on the 14th. I will be back for the second March meeting.
Better have a good reason.
Zermatt, Switzerland.
That's a good reason.
Motion to adjourn.
Wait. I'd like to know this business about the light bulbs and all that stuff in our packet. The lighting, the street lights.
Street lights, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Turn them all off.
For info. Is this
For the
future-
adults.
Is this for tonight or future?
For the adult
Talk
zone.
about it, what?
The street lights, that's just
Street lights,
information.
Oh.
I folded this
Oh,
up.
I'm sorry. We were talking about that as part of the lane.
Yeah.
And, certainly Sleepy Hollow as well.
Yeah.
That's information at this point. We're still in the process of talking to National Grid about it and the selectmen. But I just wanted to give you an update.
Yeah, it's just informational for now, Mike. Homework.
Read it carefully.
There'll be a quiz at the next
Contradicted
meeting.
himself in a couple of paragraphs, but
What is an HP bulb?
one of them said,
High
we'll change
pressure.
over
Is it high
to,
pressure?
Yep.
said National Grid would change it over to
It's
metal
land
halide,
continue
it's high pressure
maintaining and
sodium.
owning it. So why wouldn't you do
I
it?
couldn't help looking at the
But it didn't
spreadsheet.
say who would pay for the new lights, the
The
new LED
lights.
bulbs.
Yeah,
or
right,
whatever.
LED, yeah.
It's no wonder
The
our
LEDs
street
are
lights are so bad in this town. No offense, but I mean, that seems very low for, you're talking here about replacing the existing
Right.
Heads.
50 watt
Like
HPs,
Sutton did. They're all LED.
which is great.
I think
It's
that's
fine.
it'll be
But
like
I'm
20
I was
watts.
just commenting on the fact that 50 watts is kind of amazingly low to me, but.
But it's a different kind of filament.
So it's
sodium.
Sodium halide.
It has to be measured in lumens, versus watts. It's not, it's a different element.
I know that.
Right.
That's the point I'm trying to make. I mean, if they're gonna place it with a 50-watt equivalent,
He knows his lumens.
which will give the same lumens.
Yeah, but it's a
Same
different
I don't know
wattage,
what-
same wattage doesn't mean same lumens.
Well, that was my
Right.
question.
If you do a 50-watt
does.
LED, it'd be like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it'd be like
It
right up
burns
the-
eyes out.
Right. So it's gonna be,
Laser.
it's gonna be a 50-watt equivalent,
Right.
not 50 watts of LED.
Correct.
Right. So whatever that light's putting out.
Might be a
But
20.
that
might
means
be a
it'll
30.
have roughly the same lumens as the
What's there,
existing bulb.
I imagine what's there now, but she's probably a quarter of the wattage.
Yeah.
And
That's-
last,
That's a good thing. My comment is, that's still not a whole hell of a lot of light.
Oh, well, then we probably should suggest
do you want?
Well, the
You want
streetlights here, I
Boston?
mean, let's be honest, the
That's a
streetlights here, you
twofold.
can't,
It's a
you can,
town.
you can see the ground, but you can't see streets at night, you can't read the street
That's a
signs.
twofold thing there, because do you want a street light shining in your window 24/7?
It's light pollution.
Do you want a street light in your?
I would like to be able to read the street, this is my personal
headlights
opinion,
on.
of course, it's nice, I mean, at night that you could actually see the street signs, but, you know, the
We should
lighting
have a
is so poor that you can see the ground and you can see
We should have a little solar
street.
panel with a little light hood. lighting
No,
it.
I know what
Okay,
you're
kinda
saying,
cool.
You know what I'm saying, I mean,
That would
they're,
work.
Clip
I
on.
know what you're
they're
saying.
better than
yeah.
nothing, but,
Yeah.
But LED, take a run in, it's.
oh, LED is great, I have no
It's a
problem
whole
with doing
different light.
that. I am-
Spectacular.
It's a whole different light.
Get a GPS.
So,
and you-
so
then you know.
just for your information, that was presented for your information as kind of like an update. We're still looking at it, and, you know, hopefully by the next 2 meetings, we'll have some recommendations.
Very good, thank you, Bill.
Thanks.
Is there a state standard? Do they put like, you know, like when we do buildings and you want a certain amount of light on a table, they measure it with a device. Is there a standard by the state?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Well, I think for adequate lighting, and I don't know if there's a standard to answer
As
the
an
I
question.
don't think you have to have streetlights, period.
That's right, it's left up to the local community. But if you're on a highway, I can think of stretches of highway where they have no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And-
For
and-
miles. Yeah, for miles, I know.
But in terms of like a
no
parking
street signs.
area, I know, I think
There are
it's 1
standards.
lumen, is it 1 lumen?
Could sounds right.
Yeah, 1 lumen is what the measure is, I think. And then they do those topographic charts with the lumens and whatever. But anyways, we're getting way too into that.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Mike made a motion to adjourn, I second it.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes abstained, motion carries. We're adjourned at 8:40. It's too much clear, I can't, 8:47?
8:48.
8:48.